Welcome to Glowing Hour. We're your hosts, Sam and Mel. Oh my god, I got it right. I was thinking about it for a long time, though, to be honest. The intro.
You're like, don't forget it, don't forget it.
No, literally. Today we're just drinking a little Olipop orange squeeze flavor. We're apparently on an Olipop kick. Forgive us. I think I said it in the last episode that I don't think I said I'm sick. I just said I'm in my Miley era. But, like, I've been fighting being sick for, like, 2 weeks, so.
She's got a raspy little voice.
A little raspy. Still having a drink tonight, though.
We're saving ourselves for tonight.
Yeah, yum. I don't even like soda anymore. You know?
Me either. Olipop does it for me, or so does Poppy.
Yeah.
Like, I know it probably doesn't taste like soda, but it tastes like soda to me.
And even then, I don't crave, like, I'm not like, I need
no, it's
the
like
new soda, right? I don't need that either.
No.
But Diet Pepsi? Oh my god, I was on a kick. I needed that every day of my life for, like...
Diet Pepsi was a moment. Well, for me, it was Diet Coke, but yeah.
I don't know why. My mom probably. Diet Pepsi.
The aspartame, though, is just, like, I think I'm allergic to it.
I don't even want to know.
Anyway.
So, if you're coming from last week's episode, I kind of left everything on a cliffhanger saying we're going to have a really interesting topic. And obviously, you know by the title, we're talking about friends and money.
Yeah.
And I was going to say something stupid like, and Mel and I are breaking up because I owe her money.
She does owe me money, though.
I do owe her
Just
money,
kidding.
though. I do, but we're conscious, and we've spoken about it. It's fine.
Yeah.
But that's the point. So today we're talking about that.
Yeah. I was gonna, to start it off, though,
Right.
in that way. Like, but the thing is, like, I'm so comfortable around speaking to you about money to the point where, like, even though if you didn't bring it up earlier, I was still probably going to message you later when I'm, like, figuring out my finances.
Yeah,
And be
whenever
like,
you look at it.
hey, pay when you can, but you owe me, like, this much. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's fine. Anyway, the reason this conversation came up, to not be specific at all, Logan and I had a falling out with a friend. I don't know if she considered me as close as I, like, considered her, I guess. Like, I don't know if, like, Logan was the main point of friendship. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
She was our friend, our mutual friend. She decided to make a video on TikTok basically discussing why we're no longer friends. And basically the title of the video was like, why I'm no longer friends with people like who are richer or poorer than me. Let's just say it
Is that really what she put on there?
it said is why I'm no longer going to be friends with people who make way more money than me or way less money than me.
Okay. Moving on.
Just mute that part.
Crazy. Just dead silent.
So she made that video. This person made that video, and it just, in that video, I think, like, expectations were unclear. And a big part that I took from it was conversations about money with friends can be uncomfortable for some people. And I am trying to sympathize with how that feels for some people. I personally don't think it's such a taboo topic. I think if you're spending enough time with people, like, you have to kind of understand what they're capable of spending.
Yeah.
And, like, where they're at in their lives. I just feel like not everyone is equally made. Not everyone has equal opportunity. And so...
Not even in a singular relationship.
No. So I'm like, I'm just very open to talking about, like, it's fucking painful for me to talk about finances because I just, like... How do I say this? Not painful for me, like, in the general sense, but, like, painful when, like, I think about, like, oh my god, I don't have enough money for this. Like, it's painful for me to, like, have that discussion.
Money isn't a safe feeling yet.
Yeah, it's not a safe feeling, but I'm also not a person who hides behind, like, not talking about it at all. Like, if my friends want to go out and do something and I don't have the money, it's either, like, I understand how to budget out my life for that, or, like, I'm like, hey, can we do this instead? Because I'm kind of broke this week and I'm waiting for my paycheck. And, or it's like, you know, we want to go to the bars, they're ready to fucking buy drinks, that's fine. Before that even happens, I'm gonna be like, how about we buy June Shines and pregame? You know, like, there's, like, a way to work around it.
I was thinking about, this is kind of off topic, but, like, at what age do we stop pre-gaming? Like, is it an age? Is it a money thing?
Like,
what is it? Like, or is it it's a fun activity? I think it is. But I also can see why going to the bar and just spending $25 per drink could also be a vibe.
Yeah.
If it feels comfy.
It feels comfy.
Right? Anyways.
Totally up to you. But yeah, like, I think that topic coming to light for me really brought up like the fact that maybe this is a very uncomfortable conversation for some like friends. And if you're wondering how you do that with each other, it can be done corporately or it can be done not corporately. And either way is fine.
Yeah. Also, I didn't grow up speaking about money very much in general terms. Like, my parents were never vocal about how little or how much they would have to spend on certain things. Obviously, if it was like, we're at the store and I want to buy a million things, they're not like, yeah, go get where you want. Or, no, we're broke, you can't have anything. It would just be yes or no. So for me, money was never talked about. I never knew how much my parents made. Never wasn't a concept. And I don't know if it's just our generation or like our specific friend group where it was always just like a logic thing of like, I have $20. You have $20. Like, we can Uber or what? Like, this is before Uber, but like we can go see a movie and split a popcorn because we got $40 combined or whatever. And so I think it just like fostered the conversation of being like, I owe you money, or thank you so much for covering this, I'll get you next time, or blah, 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 whatever. Like, it just always was a very comfortable conversation amongst friends. So I can see how if that wasn't a natural conversation or no one ever spoke to you in terms of money, I guess, and trips, that it could be a struggle. But I do think that there is probably more often than not opportunities that arise that people will speak on money. And then there's like passive responses that then get you in trouble. So I think the number one thing in terms of friends and money is be honest about your expectations and be clear. Like, I'm like, we can talk examples, but I just feel like they're so specific.
Yeah, I think that's a great point that you brought up, though, like where we kind of come from, because I feel like the way that you grow up with money is very much how it could feed off for the rest of your life, whether then you like gain a lot of money or you stay in the same like social economic standpoint. Like it really can like put your brain in a certain state. Yeah. I feel like I have a similar situation with you where like not that I didn't have a concept of money.
Yeah. So you knew when things were expensive and when things were affordable, maybe.
Affordable. I feel like I was low middle class, and I say that like kind of like generously just because like I don't necessarily feel like I was middle class, but I never like struggled to have food on the table, and that's like a privilege that I had. So like that is like where I knew like I'm not struggling. So like my family isn't struggling, but I also did understand like where we lived versus where other people lived based on like because of like how my mom grew up working. Like the places that I saw her work were like very luxurious places, and she was basically like the housekeeper. So like I understood the concept of like these are rich people and we're not. And so I understood the concept of money in that way. I don't know, I feel like yes, it does like create a certain mindset for you when then you like have to deal with your own money growing up. But I do feel like you said, logically, just kind of like and that's where like I think I can sympathize, but I don't necessarily recognize how somebody wouldn't want to quite discuss how much you can and can't afford. You know what I mean?
Right. When it comes to practicalities of like, because everyone comes from such different circumstances.
Yeah.
Even today, every single one of me and my friends, we're all in completely different pages. Not even just like because of how much we make, but because of what we spend on and what we choose to spend on, what we like to spend money on, what we like to save for. All of those things give you completely entirely different budgets, and
everyone's different.
Yeah. And even like there's also the assumption part where you're like, well, they work at X, Y, and Z, or they have this, so they should be able to do X, Y, and Z and pay for X, Y, and Z. But it's like,
at the end of the day, it's a decision that person makes.
Yeah. So even if you think someone's freaking loaded or something and that they should be doing something, you have to communicate that expectation.
Right.
And that's not going to look too pretty, is it? When you go, you should have paid for that for me or something. Like that just never comes across quite nice. And that's why you communicate effectively and you say things like, what is your budget? What can you afford? What do you want to spend money on?
Can you afford this?
Yeah. And it just saves a whole lot of hurt. Like Mel literally said a friendship deteriorated because of this, and it could have all been avoided had a conversation been had. And not to say that I guess it's on both sides or whatever, but it's hard when someone shuts you down, I guess, because when the other side doesn't want to discuss money, like what is one supposed to do?
The expectations are super unclear.
Yeah.
Is what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like moving forward you would push for, I guess, clear communication if someone was to be like...
I think it was such a niche experience that I
It
don't...
was, for sure.
that I don't really know...
that you'll face it again. Maybe.
Like, I feel like I don't know how to say this. Like, I'm not a person who seeks friendship for... like a purpose like that, you know what I mean? And so like a financial let me just be clear, like a financial purpose or like what I can gain from somebody. I value friendship from a emotional availability standpoint, and also just like I value emotional connection.
Yeah.
And if you want to talk about like what you can get from somebody, all I really want to get from you is like reciprocation of friendship and like care and trust, and like that's really it. So I don't know that I can find like if I did find myself in like the same situation with somebody who's like financially in that same realm and who maybe doesn't want to discuss money also.
Or you're on the flip side too.
Or I'm the one
with the money. With more money than your friends.
I think I'm already like so conscious of like how I come off financially. Not even like come off. I don't know what the right wording is, but like I'm very conscious of like social like how we would like exchange, I guess, I don't know. Like, I know what you're trying to say.
Like you're aware
I'm just
of
aware
like,
of how
not
to
no, we're not gonna say different. No, like I'm
just aware of like how to like do this kind of transaction of like we're going somewhere.
Like you drove me here, we drove there,
yes,
like those kinds of things.
I feel like I'm already like on that cycle normally, like with anybody. Like I've never had an issue financially with a friend. I literally have never have had that. So I'm not really sure that I'm the problem.
Yeah.
But like if I would arise to another occasion where either I'm the person who's more money, or even like I'm with another person who has more money than me, like I would have to like set the record straight that I don't expect anything from anybody. I just want to make sure that maybe I will be more cautious of like making sure that the expectations are clear.
Yeah. Because
I don't want to have any confusion.
That's what I mean. Like if someone was to just say like, no, don't worry. Be like, okay, but I'm so serious. You mean
the thing is
like how do you even do that? That's so niche.
That's so niche. But I also think like I do that already.
It's kind of on them.
I already make sure like I'm a person who feels guilty when somebody like pays for me, or like maybe it's not like a forever guilt, but like in the moment I'm like
a forever guilt.
I'm like a little uncomfortable. I'm like,
yeah,
are you sure? Like,
yeah,
like it makes me kind of uncomfortable. I'm like, I owe you next time. Like, let me just do that for you. Mm-hmm. And so like I don't. You get what I'm saying? Like it is like a cautionary tale, I guess, but at the same time, like I'm already like
moving forward.
I already move in that way, but moving forward, maybe I guess I will be a little extra.
But it's also just so specific in these.
It's such a niche experience.
Yes, in these scenarios where you feel like it was discussed. I mean, you can't do much better than that. Like, you can't help that someone holds something
against you
privately, and then it comes out very publicly. Correct. They cared, and that's not really fair. But yeah, I was asking just to see if you felt like there was something like
else I could have done
jarringly that you're like, next time I would, or I don't know, just like helping the people out if there's like.
I mean, if you're going through anything similar, I think I would just make sure that you move in that way of like, I feel like now to this point, like I'm almost like wary of ever taking anything from anybody, like accepting any type of generosity. Except for my current friend group. I don't think any of you would like actually do anything like that.
Yeah.
But if I met a new person and a new friend, like I don't know that I would take things so generous, like their generosity for face value. I think not because anything against them, just more so like I don't want to end up then feeling like I owe somebody something, you know?
Which is literally the exact opposite of the definition of generosity.
Right.
So you shouldn't be feeling that way, and it's unfortunate that, like, because of the situation now that...
It's really hard for me not to go into, like...
You're in this place. I know the details.
The details of it all.
The details of it all. But, yeah, I think in the conversation of talking about money with your friends, I guess it can be uncomfortable for sure of, like, ooh, like, I need money by X day, and we talked about paying me back that day or whatever. But honestly, at the end of the day, just bringing it up, and also over text, will save all sorts of souls. Like, don't wait till you're in person and then you're going to fumble it and you're going to say something with the wrong tone or whatever. It's honestly as easy as being like, hey, I've been thinking and I need this by this date. Do you think that's possible or whatever? Because money is uncomfortable because it comes down to, it almost feels do or die in some cases.
No, it really does.
Like, I'm going to owe more money because I don't pay by this day or etc.
I mean, like, even for me, like, I'm a person who works, like, I'm what's it called? Like, I'm an independent contractor. So, like, I'm getting paid literally via Zelle on whoever's fucking time and dime, you know? So, like,
yeah,
sometimes I'm genuinely having to have those conversations of, like, hey, it's this date now. Like, I have to pay my mortgage soon. Like, I am sorry. Like, is that possible that you can send the money? Because, like, sometimes, like, you just have to be comfortable with. I don't know.
Yeah, you do. It's a practice for sure because I think everyone, for the most part, gets it. And if you come across poorly in one scenario, it's not the end of the world, you know? It's just about doing your best and hoping that you're speaking to other people who understand in a similar way that you do. And I don't know, maybe that's a good fucking question to be asking when you're going on Bumble BFF dates or shit like that. Like, how do you handle money in your friendship? Do you guys have Splitwise? Like, do you guys know what that is?
No, actually, do you do spreadsheets with your friends?
Literally. And the spreadsheet thing is, like, Logan thinks I'm crazy, but she respects it. So we respect that. But, like,
the expectations are clear. Like,
that's what I want. I just want everyone to be very clear on, like, even me, like, I just want to know that I'm not stressed. Specifically, I'm talking about Coachella. Like, Coachella weekend, I don't want to be stressed thinking, like, fuck, like, we did buy a little more groceries than we were expecting and we were supposed to, but, like, I know what we budgeted for. We bought maybe 5 extra things. I know we're only going to be spending another $1 per person or whatever it is. Yeah. And that just brings me peace and comfort. And I'm glad that my friends feel the same way, or at least respect it. Because, like, genuinely, I've heard stories of friends and family groups that go on vacation and they're like, oh yeah, we're just going to go to the grocery store and we'll split everything. And it's like, okay, well, you bought 10 bags of chips. No one ate them, or you got things that only you like or eat or whatever. So then everyone ends up splitting this big bill. And at the end of the trip, you have either no food to take home and that person took everything home or what. Like, it's just these things. And then that's where the resentment gets built. So, like, just laying out expectations. And I think specifically trips are probably the biggest things because everything else is smaller. Like coffee. Like, I got your coffee. Don't worry about it. Or I got this Uber, or I got this drink out, or whatever it is. They're a lot less resentment building. Obviously, over time, anything can build. But I think trips are, like, the biggest triggers for friends and money.
Yeah. But it's like a pressure cooker of, like, we're all here to, like, you're all paying for an experience.
Yeah.
And if everyone's not feeling like that they're getting out what they put in, like.
Yeah, we're supposed to be having fun, but now I'm stressed about whatever. And it just takes away the purpose of what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
Also, I just want to make a little comment about what people are commenting on this said video. It's just like, why'd the comment leave me? Why'd the comment leave me? What was it? Oh, people commenting like, when I'm winning, my friends are winning.
Absolutely.
And I think that person does agree with that in general. I think so, in general.
In general, I think so.
I think so. Generous in certain ways, but it's just when the generosity comes with expectations, that's not fair. Like, it's, in terms of my money and my relativity of what I can offer my friends, if I'm going to say, hey, I got your coffee, I'm not sitting there expecting
Coffee
like
next time.
hello. Like
I think you're right. I feel like that's a big piece that I don't quite understand is
like don't offer things that you can't
yeah.
comfortably actually offer. That's why.
And I also just feel like personally if I'm fucking buying you coffee and I know it's a stretch for me, I'm not sitting there waiting like she's going to buy my lunch next.
Right.
You know, like because I don't know. I think the expectations just should not
Be unclear. And when someone
mean what you say and say what you mean.
Yes, and when someone clearly says it's fine, I got it, that's what you expect, regardless of how much that thing is that they got. You know what I mean? Because like I'm saying, for me, a coffee. If I tell you, okay, I got it, you're not expecting me to like it's just
Also, I'm just thinking back on like when we all went to the desert for Logan's birthday.
Oh yeah.
Brittany and I completely paid for the house.
Yeah.
Pretty expensive house. And we invited everybody and I said, all of you asked like how much can I put in? And I was like, absolutely nothing. Like I actually for sure got this. Like just we're gonna probably split food and whatever alcohol. Like and even then I think like I think
it was BYOB because everyone brought different. I don't remember, but maybe not.
I remember even like buying all of like the pasta. Like I think one dinner like I completely paid for or something. But like I'm not gonna then like imagine later I asked you
said,
guys,
but I paid for that trip.
But I paid for that trip. Yeah, like
Yeah. You knew that you were spending that.
I can't hold that against any of you. Mm-hmm. It's unfair, A, and B, I'm also just like, I said I got it.
Yeah.
Even if later I ended up feeling financially stressed, not that that's this person's case at all, but like...
It's like I made that decision.
It's my decision.
Yeah. We all gotta live with the decisions we make, especially when it comes to money, but that's tough.
But yeah, if you're having like, I guess like a uncomfortable time or a hard time having these uncomfortable conversations with your friends, I think like it doesn't have to be uncomfortable. It doesn't have to be like this weird like tit for tat or confrontation. Like it could really just be like, I mean, I think all of it could be really situational. And if you're having more of a specific situation where you're like, I feel wronged by them by this, like I think I would still bring it up in a kind way of like, hey, I just feel like I'm
being taken advantage of.
Being taken advantage of, or there's like sometimes I feel like I'm putting in a little bit more, you know, financially when we're out or whatever. Like being very clear about your feelings is the only way to really discuss it, because otherwise if you're bringing anything else into the conversation, it gets muddy and then you just like end up fighting about nothing.
All the other stuff.
Yeah,
and I think having the conversation sooner rather than later, because wouldn't you rather it be like, I noticed that I pay for things, and I mean there's like so many layers, right? If the person doesn't say thank you or like things like that, of course you can be upset over, but like just bringing it up sooner rather than later, so it could be either corrected or you can say that's not my person, like that's not my type of person to be friends with, and then it's done.
Yeah.
And there doesn't need to be this big blow up of emotions and resentment. So yeah.
And you know what, like if you want to have your little corporate meetings like we do, go for it. I think it's always a good idea to just lay out the expectations. I honestly think for a trip it's so nice to have like clearly what's going on. For us it's very specific, like with Coachella, because we're there for 4 days. These are our meals. This is how much groceries are probably going to be. This is how much alcohol is going to be. But if you're going on a longer trip and you know you're trying to like split your time with like a certain amount of people, and like the housing is one thing and then going out for food, like I think like just kind of having a conversation about every piece of it all. Like, what are the activities we want to be doing? How much can you guys afford?
Well, even like
to do
family vacations. Like we are just like, my family is literally currently planning a family vacation, and it's like pulling teeth talking about money. It is hard. It's like, I mean, like, to be fair, my siblings and I are very far apart in age and are going through very different things in our lives at the moment. So our budgets are extremely different. And it's like, how do we go on one trip where we all have extremely different budgets? Like, what does that look like? So it's just being very honest about it And as with your friends, the same with family. But like, if you say your budget is $1,000 to spend once you're there, I will say reasonably, you're gonna still have to budget for another like $200 to $500, you know?
Yeah, of course.
Because you end up spending more than you anticipated, and that's fine. But you just got to be on the same page as everybody. Like, you're not picking the 5-star Michelin whatever restaurant when we said our budget is like more of the McDonald's twice for lunch on the trip, and like maybe a cute little pop-up coffee shop once of the trip. Like, you know, like there's just mutual understandings of where everyone's at. And if you want to go somewhere more expensive, I personally think that's on you if you want those other people to go with you. But if you're like, I want to go somewhere more expensive, we'll meet you guys after. That's also totally fine to lay out that expectation and say, I'm going to go to that fancy spot or the cheaper spot. You go to the fancy spot though. Whatever it is, just lay it out. Yes, I'm not saying you have to pay for everyone because you have more money, but also don't be unclear about the expectations.
I think on like even like zoomed out version of that is like, if you have a specific mind, if you have a specific way that you want a trip to go, I just feel like being very clear about like the kind of trip you want to, the activities and the things that you want to be doing, because I feel like in my personal case, I just wouldn't have gone on the trip.
Right. I wouldn't have spent the money
I wouldn't
that
have
I did
tried,
have.
right, to go on that trip knowing the outcome of like everyone's upset.
Like had we just known we were on different pages traveling.
I just also feel like, with that said, like, if be mindful of like who you're like, again, it's just like being considerate and asking the right questions of like affordability, because at the end of the day, like, if you're deciding to go on a trip with somebody who makes less money than you or more money than you, like, you both have to come to an agreement of like the things that are going to happen.
Otherwise the trip
and
cannot
I mean, like,
happen.
personally, like, let's say we you know, we're going to Coachella or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, you guys, on Friday though, like, I really want to, this doesn't work for Coachella.
Yeah, say like if we were to go to Coachella and you're like, I want to Uber every single day, and we're all splitting the Uber.
Yeah. Because
I want to show up in an Uber X or something.
Yeah,
and
a
black. Yeah.
Uber black.
Whatever it is. And
like, if
that's your choice. So we would be like,
I don't know. And I'd be like, okay,
maybe.
What about just an Uber X? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I think there's like a negotiation, or even just like settling with an idea that maybe it's not going to be exactly like you're coming
what
to
either of you want, to be honest. It's a compromise.
But some people don't like to compromise. And that's like,
and then if that's the case,
that's what I'm saying. Like, if that's the case, then just don't go on the trip.
Right.
And better yet, maybe, again, don't be friends.
And that's why it's hard to go on trips, I think, with friends. Especially in cases like this where you do feel like there's a push and pull between your financial budgets, I guess, your budgets, and it's a lot of communicating. And if you have the budget to be at a fucking 5-star hotel and your friends don't, that is okay, but you guys just have to find a compromise, whatever that is, whether it's that, hey, because I can afford it, I'll pay, but can you cover my dinner one night? Or I don't know. That's just like, so I don't know, guys, but just be clear about what you expect. And if that's what you expect, then at least the party receiving something knows that something is expected out of it, essentially.
I think you're giving them the opportunity to decide whether or not they want to be involved.
Right. Whether they can or not.
Right. It's just interesting to me that I've never had an issue like this before. Like, I just think it's such a specific circumstance.
But it's also, I don't think it's that weird for people to be uncomfortable with money, for sure.
That I sympathize with. Yeah. I think, like, not wanting to, though, like, because it's like
literally not doing it is
the part that I don't understand. Like, I get it's uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. But then being upset because you didn't have the conversation.
Yeah, we can't even. That's a very specific situation. But if you're struggling with speaking about money, honestly, it takes practice. I think just the more you do it, the less uncomfortable it gets. And knowing that people will receive it maybe it doesn't have to be positively, but just from an understanding point of view,
Yeah.
it's fine. Because your budget is not their budget at the end of the day, and your choices are not their choices. It's fine.
Enough said.
So go talk about money with your friends.
Honestly, use Splitwise.
Honestly, Splitwise is amazing.
Such a good app.
Mine offloads, though. I will say, here's me communicating directly. If you send something on Splitwise, you have to text me too, because I don't.
You don't get the notifications?
There's notifications? Okay, I'll turn
Yes.
those on. See, it offloads because I don't use it.
Oh.
If I had like a boyfriend, I probably would use it more.
Yeah.
So, need a boyfriend. Just kidding. But anyways, so yeah, go talk about money with your friends. It'll be good for you. And Splitwise, sponsor us. We love you.
It's a good app. I think that's it for this episode. I feel like we got weirdly specific. That was not
Try not to.
That was not the intention, and I'm really sorry about that if that's the case. I just want to end by saying, like, no bad blood.
Absolutely.
Like,
no
all
bad
power
blood.
to you. Wish you the very best. I don't know if you're seeing this, but if you are, wishing you the very best. And, you know, things were said, and I think you were right about one thing.
What does that even mean?
That we shouldn't be friends.
All right, well, we'll see if we'll leave that in there. I'm gonna have to have you listen to this whole episode before I publish it. Anyways, that's it.
That's it. I just got weirdly uncomfortable. Okay.
Yeah, hopefully this episode is received well, because genuinely, nothing but positivity and love and light. We know it's a tough conversation, so we're just trying to encourage people to have more of them. Yeah, period. We'll see you guys next week, and hopefully you have an amazing weekend, and you only have 2 weeks till Coachella weekend 1, so get it together.
Get it together, girls.
Bye.